What is up, YouTube? This is Matt with Chrome Donkey. I'm hoping this audio is going to work. Sometimes my GoPro's hit or miss. So what are we doing tonight? Why am I so incredibly sweaty? Well, I just finished cutting the yard, and what I'm going to do before I go clean up is install the LinQ system on the actual SeaDoo RXs. So let me show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So as you know, some of the later model jet skis have the nice SeaDoo LinQ system, and this is basically this type of securing bracket that in some of the skis actually pops up out of the swim platform or whatever you want to call the rear deck. You can also buy the install kit, which is what I did off Amazon. I'll drop a link in the description in this video, but essentially what you've got is the template that I've already got stuck down to my traction pad. I didn't take the whole backing off of this. Notice it does have some double-sided like 3M style tape, but the point is I don't want this to stay. I'm only tacking this down so it doesn't pivot and move when I drill the holes. But the point is this gives you a template. So you'll notice that there's two holes that are pre-drilled on either side of this template. And the way these brackets go on, they're like this. So the actual bracket itself is towards the inside of the ski, whereas the mount is towards the exterior, the edges of the ski. So what this is going to give me the ability to do, I've already got the cooler, as you can see down here. So this will either let me hold on to a cooler on the back of the skis. As you guys probably know, there's a gas tank you can get. There's an actual extra storage compartment you can get. And one of the things that we noticed real quick when we were out on the lake just this past weekend is this storage bin right here. Well, technically these two storage bins, but this main big storage bin is really the only storage on a SeaDoo RX, and it's in the front, under the hoods. And sure, it's got, it's pretty deep, and what I've got in here right now is some basic stuff like a dry bag. I've got my SeaDoo fenders that I actually fabricated on. I'll put a link in the actual a card at the top of this video if you guys want to see how I installed that. But also we got some rope and a first aid kit. And this is the storage bin for the actual Millennium Edition because it still needs an oil mix. So this is my mixer that obviously needs to stay in there at all times in case I ever have to refuel on the lake. But the point is, you run out of storage real quick, especially if you want to carry like a Yeti bag cooler. That literally is what we did on this weekend, and it took up the entire storage bin. And then you have this teeny tiny one that goes in the very top, and really this is for like dock line, maybe your wallet, or something that you want to keep out of the elements, but that's a real tiny storage bin. So I started looking into the SeaDoo LinQ system. I'm like, hey, why not show some love for some of our older model skis rather than letting all the newer late model guys have all the fun. So that's what I'm going to do today. In theory, this should be relatively straightforward. You've got this nice giant screw that comes with the kit. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to start and create a tap hole with a smaller bit. Then I'm going to come back behind it with the size bit. And if you're wondering what these bits are, let's see if I can probably won't be able to get this to focus. But this is a 9/64 bit. Okay. That's the pilot hole that I'm drilling. And then the primary bit is a 3/16 bit. And basically from all the research as well as those fenders that I installed, which work really well, you want to find a drill bit when you're drilling into fiberglass that basically splits the difference between the actual threads on the screw and the body of the screw. So basically you want to find a drill bit that is essentially the size of the body, but the threads are still going to be, going outside of the drill bit circumference or diameter, if that makes any sense. Definitely want to start with a small drill bit just to get that tap hole going, and then drill the size hole you want to drill. And really 4 screws and get those things secured down in there. It does take a star bit, and I'll check back in here in a minute when I get ready to tap these screws in, let you guys know exactly what size that is, and hopefully that should be a wrap. Now what I'm going to do, since I don't yet have this one secured on the DI model, what I'm gonna do is once I get the holes drilled and I pull the template off, then I'm gonna come out here with a razor blade after I know exactly where this has to mount. So very, very lightly tap those screws in, just super loose. And I'm gonna go around with a razor blade and trim out this traction mat so this will sit flush against the fiberglass and be, I mean, it won't be recessed a lot, but as you can see, I mean, that's like, you know, 3 or 4 millimeters probably, but every little bit helps. So that'll let that recess and get a much firmer and rigid mount. So stay tuned. I hope to goodness this goes well and I don't screw up these nice brand new freshly restored RXs, but I have faith. So stand by and we'll see how this goes. Holes drilled. Moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take the template off, get it out of the way. Now, okay guys, so hopefully you can still hear me. These bolts that I was talking about are a T30. Not sure if you can make that out, but it's a T30 Torx bit. The legs go to the inside, just like I said at the beginning of the video. The legs go to the inside, the bracket, the actual attachment piece goes to the outside. Okay, so now we're going to test it. Make sure we haven't totally screwed the pooch on fitment, which we shouldn't, because that's the whole reason you have a template. Hooked. Boom. Beautiful. Looks awesome. It's in there. So now we know we have our right fitment. Ta-da! Not going anywhere, son. Beautiful. Beautiful. One done. To the blue. You may have noticed I decided to call an audible for my original plan, and instead of cutting out the traction mat, I decided after doing one side I'm gonna leave that alone and just screw right through it because, a couple reasons. I think that will give it a little bit of extra protection with regards to potentially sealing any water out. Because again, that bracket is going to be clamped down using the traction mat almost as a barrier for any type of water that may or may not be able to leak through. So that's one reason. The other reason, I just don't think it's needed, and it was going to be too tedious of a job to trim around it very meticulously to get it to seat properly, recessed, but not look bad. Because again, if you mess up and you're going to see gaps around the traction mat, I'd rather just avoid that altogether. And here we go for blue. There's the pilot hole. Done with that drill bit. Done with the drill. Okay, so now get our template unstuck and out of the way. To blow these out when I'm done. Whew. Remembering that the legs go to the inside, not the outside. Should be able to just tack these straight down and call it a day. All done, boys and girls. Beautiful. That was easy. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And let's test fit the blue. Beautiful. And there you go. So I think it looks really good. I don't think it's obtrusive at all. It just looks like two little mounting brackets, and they're, you know, SeaDoo, they're LinQ. They go right on. There's not any, you know, missing spots where I, you know, cut something incorrectly, which is why I actually just kind of punted on that whole idea. I didn't want to, you know, gash my traction mat where you'd have like a gap, like right here going around the bracket if you did it incorrectly. So I wanted to just leave that nice and sleek, so it just looks like it's part of the swim deck. And again, I think I mentioned this on the last video, potentially, but this is also a good little handle because it actually does protrude. Unlike some of the other newer model, late model skis, this little thing actually is recessed. So it's good and bad, right? It's out of the way unless you need it, but if you do need it, you have to pop it out. Spin the mic around. Hopefully you guys can hear me better. If not, I'll do a quick wrap-up video anyway to kind of conclude this. But highly recommended mod, extremely simple. Hopefully you guys saw how easy it was. It's drill a pilot hole, drill the larger hole, which is going to be what you use for the bolts. You tap the bolts in. You don't need to over tighten them, and I mean, these are secure to the point where I'm shaking the trailer with them. They're not going anywhere. And especially for the cargo that we're going to be carrying, it's not like you're carrying a giant, you know, 100-gallon Yeti cooler full of beer or something on the back of a 2-person jet ski. So this cooler is awesome, by the way, in case you guys haven't seen it. Let me open it up. It is very Yeti-like. It's got the, you know, 2 little latches here, got the plastic in it from when I got it, and get all the stuff out. You got a pretty nice little area, you know, and it's very insulated. You can see how thick walled it is. And the other thing I wanted to kind of show you, if I can get up here, see how it's kind of got the little notch. Put down some of this trash. See right here? So this little notch is actually pretty convenient because my point right there in the RX is actually what I was worried about. And they actually angled that little point in there, and I feel like where I've got it mounted is just about perfect. You know, if you wanted to go a little bit closer up to the ski, you could technically get away with it on these RXs, but for me, I wanted those brackets as far back as possible so I wouldn't run into any clearance issues, you know, regardless of what I wanted to clip on there, whether it's this little cooler, you know, the actual cargo bag, maybe the extra fuel. Of course, we got a chopper going by. Don't know if you guys can hear that. Military base around here, so we always get the C-130s and military choppers. But yeah, so I wanted these as far to the back of the ski as possible so I didn't run into any clearance issues down the road, because they actually do sell quite a few LinQ accessories that these will work with. The 2 that I was most interested in, certainly the cooler. Matter of fact, you know, a cooler per ski would be nice, but really 1 cooler and probably the excess fuel, the extra fuel tank, because what's nice about that, especially on these skis like this red one that takes the premix, you can go ahead and get all that out of the way ahead of time. You can premix it at the house, you know, go to the gas station, do that long before you hit the lake. And I think it's like 4 gallons extra fuel, so you can have that. So if you start getting low, you've got, you know, gas right on the back of the ski. Pull up to a sandbar, pull up to a beach, refuel it. You know, and more than times than not, that extra 4 gallons is going to be plenty to get you back to the pier or back to shore. So definitely impressed with this. I'm going to wrap this video up. I'll put links in the description to this kit that I got. I highly recommend this one because of the templates. You can certainly get these by themselves, but the last thing you'd want to do is drill into the hole of your ski and make a measuring issue or mistake where you don't get the actual good security of the bracket. And I mean, these things are in there, they're not going anywhere. Absolutely love the cooler. I mean, it's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. It's right at the tail end of the RX. It's not really, it's literally right even with the edge. And I still feel like there's room for you to get up on the ski. Now granted, you wouldn't want to like yank all your weight on this handle to get yourself up on the ski. I feel like you can come up on the side, put up and just kind of climb over it with the help of this handle. But worst case scenario, one of the cool things about the LinQ is it's 1 latch and then the whole cooler comes off. So, you know, worst case scenario, you just temporarily unlatch it, kind of set it over here on one side, pull it up on the ski, and then re-secure it before you take off. And again, super simple bracket. You just lock this little link bracket in and you're off to the races, and it's secure. And the other side, just to kind of give you a point of reference, may not work over here actually because it's kind of dark. But essentially, let me show you this and then I'll wrap the video up. The way the other side of the link design works is it's just a hook. See that? So there's no latch on the other side. The hook literally just goes under there. So it's almost a one-handed operation. You just kind of line it up and get that little hook under the bracket over here. And once it lines up, it won't go any further, just like that. And then you can see when it's lined up, that thing will just drop in, close that, and you're done, ready to roll. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and apologies if it's a little bit different than usual. I'm trying to use the GoPro with the Rode Micro on top, and I'll leave a link in the description to the current setup. This is the Hero 5 Black. Sometimes I've had issues with audio. I've got the little external dongle that goes into the USB-C, and it gives you a 3.5mm jack, and sometimes it works and sometimes I get some weird popping. So God forbid this video turns out to be complete crap. I will go back and re-record it with my phone, but hopefully I'll at least be able to salvage some of the footage of me actually doing the install and showing you guys the finished product. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel. Hello, Mr. Chopper again. Stay safe, stay healthy, and remember guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like the video if you found value in this, and leave a comment below if you're going to do this to your ski, because again, most of the later model SeaDoos already have this. It's just a built-in integrated option, which is awesome. But a lot of us who have older, you know, much older skis, like these are 2000, 2001, we really don't have any options unless we want to rig up a rack system on the back with bungee cords and things like that. And I just don't feel good about that. I feel like when you're out there getting beat by the waves, that's not going to be secure. And God forbid if it falls off, I mean, it could be something that'll sink straight to the bottom. So I think this is going to be the way to go. I think it looks OEM as much as it can possibly look OEM without a raised deck for these to actually be flush with the ski. And again, like I said, I think it actually gives you more places to grab to pull yourself back on the ski when you fall off after having too much fun. So thanks again for stopping by the channel. Stay safe, stay healthy, like I said, and we'll see you on the next video. See ya.